Okay, so today we're going to be going over the stats and details over the new, the movie boss, the Red Zone movie boss rush stage, and then obviously, Cell Max. We're heading straight into it. Turles is fodder. Lord Slug is fodder. Cooler is basically fodder. He can't really he's a countdown super attack, and it doesn't hit hard at all. Like, these first, like, 4 phases are kind of just irrelevant, I'm not gonna lie. Pretty just, like, they just don't, they're not threats at all, right? Then we got Bojack. Bojack, he's not, like, really strong, but he just does a really annoying gimmick, right, where he locks and switches, he locks switching, right, and then he guaranteed seals somebody 100% of the time, always, no matter what. It could be the same character, it could be one character or another character. It's problematic, but he doesn't really hit that hard. Sometimes you can get caught by, like, a unit you floated off, and then he just, locks him in slot 1. That has happened so many times with me, just going against this stage so far. He's got, a decent bit of HP. He's actually, like, I wouldn't say tanky, but he's got a decent bit of HP, right? These first couple phases, they got, like, no HP, right? 75 million is where you start to get to, like, 70 million is where you start to get to, like, there. Okay, they can, they can hang around for a couple turns, right? He's not super hard, just an annoying gimmick. Janemba here, he can hit alright, decently hard. He's, like, about as hard as, physical, whatchamacallit, Zamasu, physical Zamasu, right? Merge Zamasu, in the Red Zone Zamasu fight, he's basically around that level. 2.1 super attack once he transforms, 1.2. This int phase is really nothing. He's really nothing, except he's got really high damage reduction. You can't really, it's very hard to be able to, like, kill him before he transforms. I'm sure you could do it, right, with, like, Broly, Beast Gohan, and, like, a crazy rotation, but he also just can't change his key spheres, which is very annoying. I believe he changes key spheres after you change your key spheres, which is pretty annoying. It's not very fun to deal with. He may dodge attacks, which is fine. Then you got Janemba here. He hits decently hard, right? 700k. He lowers damage. He lowers your defense. That's about it. Broly here, he hits, it's kind of, I wouldn't say misleading, but, he has a really high attack stat, 1 million, right? That's a good bit of damage, very hard hitting. It's one of the more harder hitting normals in the game. His super attack is 3 million. 20% super attack chance, which is pretty high, decently high. And then he has only a cooldown of 5, and he double supers, which is, he's tough, right? He's not, like, fodder easy, right? But you can dodge, right? So it's like, man, I'm kind of disappointed. Like, I've said it a lot, but, like, I'm disappointed in how 13 and Broly, they don't cancel dodge, right? I also feel like this should be, like, more of a boss, like, instead of just being their final phases, it should just be, like, 7 different fights, like, on the same stage, in the same, like, on this, how boss rush is, right? It's 5 fights, or, 10 fights, or potentially 20, and the same thing. Like, I feel like this should be the same thing, right? It's just 7 different fights, and then you go through all of them, right? That might potentially be easy, but I'm sure if you up their stats like they did right now, it wouldn't be, like, fodder easy, right? Like, I feel like it'd be harder, right? Because right now he's just, like, he's got a lot of HP. He sits there for, like, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns, right? And you're just, wailing away at him, and then you can potentially get caught very easily, right? But he does hit hard too, because Evolution Blue Vegeta, like, rainbowed full level 10 links, mine, right, is full, he's sitting pretty with his 6th, his anniversary equips, and he's taking a lot of damage, right? He's not tanking him. He's taking, like, 150k per normal right away, like, with his 50% damage reduction up. Unless he revives and he gets his guard the next turn, he's kind of getting folded. Evolution Blue Vegeta is, like, the 2nd best unit in the game. Beast Gohan's obviously, like, he's just in another tier, right? He just doesn't take damage, obviously. But UI Goku, if he doesn't dodge, you're dead, right? I mean, so he is tough, but I feel like they could have went ahead and made these guys tougher, right? I feel like them, you know, as I said, Broly and 13 not canceling dodge is disappointing, because they left all the other enemies with their gimmicks, right? Like Cooler still does his thing, Turles and Slug, I don't really think they have gimmicks, but Bojack still does his thing, Janemba still orb changes and, you know, does his little gimmick. I feel like Broly should still be able to cancel dodge, or at least, you know, give him that AoE super phase, right? I feel like that would have been fun, because that's what really made people just like angry, right? Because you have to go through Broly's AoE phase, and then he AoE supers, and then you just get caught and annihilated, and then, you know, you got to go against Broly, who's just unfair, right? It's just that type of stuff was what made people so angry about Red Zone Broly when he first came out. I kind of miss that. I kind of wish, you know, we could see that again, but oh well, I guess they decided not to. Still decently tough stage, right? Then you got Cell Max. I would say Cell Max is, like, I wouldn't say he's like fodder, but he's not all that, right? His super attack chance is really low. Wow, I knew it was low, but I didn't expect it to be that low. He attacks 10 times per turn, which I think that's as many times as Broly does. No, he attacks 11. He hits like really hard, right? Like he has a lot of defense. You can tell he's got the most HP in the game by far. Like, I don't even think it's close. 300 million HP is so much. But you know, you got 1 million normals, you know, 3 million basically super attack. I mean, he hits hard, but that's really it. Like, you just go through, and it's not like he's like doing anything crazy, right? I actually did not know this. He reduces damage received by AGL. Okay, that's cool. Kind of making him a bit more tanky. That's interesting. So he disables attack reduction for 3 turns. Is that from the start of turn? I would assume that's from the start of turn, right? And he grants immunity for 6 turns to being stunned. And then he nullifies super attacks for 3 turns. So I guess, oh man, if you can seal him and lower his attack and defense after, you know, 3 turns, then he's not a challenge. Yeah, he really is just not a challenge. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's really all that. I remember in my first run, it seemed like towards the end, he lowered my defense or something. He lowered one of my stats, I think. Which was interesting, right? But he's really not all that tough, right? He's just a really long fight. Like, I think it took me like 12 or 13 turns or something, 11, something like that. A long, like, double-digit turn fight, easily, right? And that was with, you know, beating superheroes, which is like far and away the best team in the game. I do think that this fight could be potentially hard with, you know, a non-superhero team, which I'm going to start doing that, like start those missions probably tomorrow, right? But you know, you just do your thing, right? He's not like I would say he's easier than Broly for sure, right? Because you have to go through all this stuff with Broly. He's just a really long fight that you could potentially get caught, but I mean, I doubt it, right? He just doesn't seem as hard to me. There are definitely like Gogeta, by the way, is just far and away the hardest fight in the game, right? Like, this super attack, once, you know, he gets all this, he does like 3 million damage, and then, you know, his normals are hitting for, oh god, like 1.8, is that what that is? No, 1.8 million on his normal attacks after he supers? Are you kidding me? Stop. And then, you know, he's doing AoEs, like, he's usually doing 1 in slot 1 and then 1 in slot 3, which is just annoying as hell. And then, you know, you got this Gogeta who's double supering, and he's got a really high super attack chance. Well, not really high, but it's a decently high. And his cooldown's only 5. He's basically Red Zone Broly, right? Just a little bit, like a little bit weaker version of Broly, but, you know, that's not his final phase. Gogeta, I don't think these fights are anywhere near Gogeta's level. Gogeta's just definitely seems much harder. In terms of Trunks, I don't know. Like, I would say what gives these guys an edge is because of how long they are. But it's sad because most of these units that would benefit from like really long fights, their stats are just not high enough, right? Like, you think of units like AGL, LR Gohan, right? His stats are just not high enough, right? To like live, because dude, AGL Gohan's defense is like 200, 300k turn 1, dude, and these guys are doing 1 million, like, Cellmax is doing 1 million normals. Like, even with Gohan's guard, he's still gonna be taking like 150k, 200k per normal. Like, it's really unfortunate, right? Because they make these long event units that, you know, are designed around stackers, but then they just can't look good in them. It's unfortunate. I wonder, like, these guys are just falling off. Like, I wonder if they're any good, right? We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I would say Trunks. Trunks is more debatable to me. I feel like Trunks, just because of this STR phase, he's just super annoying, and then he supers you right away in his end phases. Like, you could get me. I feel like Trunks is probably harder than Cellmax and Broly, but I mean, I wouldn't really argue it. It could go either way. I think this fight is also not, I wouldn't say it's as hard. It's as hard. Orange Piccolo, I mean, they have the potential to be very explosive and they hit hard and stuff. But Beast Gohan's, he's predetermined attacks, so it just doesn't matter, right? I mean, he supers pretty early, right? And then supers, he guaranteed a super twice per turn, right? But I don't know, right? And then you got the Gammas. Gammas can hit really hard in this phase, but they're just, and you know, they do their countdown, but it's just nothing crazy to me, like, that I would say, oh boy, right? But I feel like these guys should be harder, right? Yeah, you kind of get what I'm trying to say, right? It's just, it's not that it's unfortunate, but they're a decent challenge, right? I'm sure maybe it's, you know, I'm blinded by the superhero, you know, like, just the Beast Gohan, like, glaze I can't see out of the Beast Gohan, just shades over my eyes of how good he is. But I'm sure, you know, maybe that's my fault. Maybe I should try and attempt this with like other units other than Beast Gohan's team. But I mean, I did try this. I did try these. Like, I just did the missions with Broly's team and Gogeta's team, and it was not that hard, right? So I don't know, right? And they're, you know, they just came out. They're meta unit, right? They're not like Beast Gohan, who's just far above the meta, but like, they're good. And I would say this was easy, right? I think Broly, I took I didn't get killed one time, and then Gogeta's team, I got caught once, maybe twice. I know I got caught with Gogeta because he didn't dodge Bojack, but that's that. I mean, that's that. I feel like, you know, I mean, I'll just reiterate myself. Gogeta's far and away the hardest fight in the game. Trunks is up there. These guys are up there. I mean, these are good. Like, I'm glad. It is a good thing, right? That they're releasing long content and like short content all in conjunction, right? There's a lot of different types of content, right? That can challenge you in different ways, challenge units, and you can see what units' strengths have strengths in certain events and weaknesses in other events, right? That's really good. I would say, you know, the 9th anniversary is just a huge W for Dokkan. Like, it's far and away the greatest celebration ever in this game's history. And if you disagree, you're wrong. But yeah, I mean, get excited because this is beautiful. This is great. But let me know what you guys think if you guys have attempted, you know, these stages and what you guys think of them. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me though. Thanks for stopping by.